Alright, so we're talking about investment properties in Haarlem. And the question was a client, an expat client looking for living in Haarlem, looking for an investment property in Haarlem. So the first question is like, what is a good investment? I would not recommend to buy a house. I would always recommend to buy an apartment. And also an apartment where the rent is not more than 1,400 euros, because we're looking at a big economical crisis. We have COVID. A lot of people, a lot of expats have been moving out of Holland, moved back home. So rental prices have dropped. So best is if you can have a property that is with a rental price of below 1,400, ideally 1,200 maybe. But then is the next thing is that it's really important that you're also allowed to ask for that rent. So in Holland you have the huurcommissie, the rental commission, and you have a certain number of rental points. And if I'm not mistaken, everything below 146 rental points is not a limited rent. So then you're stuck to a certain rent. So what it is we have to look for is something with enough rental points, and that's where we as a realtor will help you out, or something that has the potential to gain enough rental points to make some improvements for, so that we can ask any rent we want. Then there's something called yield, or in Dutch called BAR, bruto aanvangsrendement. So that's your return on investment. So the thing is that and it really depends on the investor, on the client. But if you borrow the money from a bank, you're gonna get a mortgage. You'll pay an interest rate, and then you see that if the yield is lower than 5%, it is not really profitable anymore. So I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say we see lately I did bidding on a rental apartment on the south side of the city center of Haarlem. It was an apartment of, I think, 55 square meters, and really looked turnkey. It had a balcony and everything. I saw that it had enough rental points. I saw it on the website of the Dutch huurcommissie. So the thing was that the asking price was 298, 295, if I'm not mistaken. So I kind of knew that it had to go up for 300 something. We did bidding of 310, and it turned out that we missed out. It went for 350. So I know that the rent that you could get there was approximately 1250. So if I have a monthly rent of 1250, it does not include utilities, right? Those are for the tenants themselves. If you have a rent of 1250 times 12, it's like 15,000 euros of rent every year. So I do have 15,000 euros, and I divide it by the price of 315,000 euros. Then I have a yield of 4.76%. So that's lower than 5%. So for our client it was not profitable. What you see is now, it's now recording this video, it's now beginning of November 2020, is that there's really like a run on investment properties, because the Dutch IRS is going to change the transfer tax, the property tax, from 2% till 8%, starting from the 1st of January. That means that if you get the keys of your new investment property after the 1st of January, you're going to pay not 2% but 8% property tax. So a lot of investors are now trying to quickly buy another investment property. So it is pretty busy. So you see that in the example that I just gave you with the 315,000 euros, the 15,000 euro rent, the yield of 4.76 percent. I mean, that's the that's not what's now happening. It's really pressuring the yield. So investing in Haarlem now is really difficult. And you see that it's really, I mean, it could be, but then you really have to calculate as a client, like what's the minimum yield that I want. I mean, if you come with us now and you ask for a yield of 6%, I mean, kind of impossible. It could only be possible like if we do like if we see an off-market deal, but that doesn't really happen much. However, if it's purely for the yield, we can help you, because outside of Haarlem there are enough opportunities. There are all those other cities or places around Haarlem where you can get a much higher yield. I mean, you could go to Almere, for example, Rotterdam, Alkmaar, lots of places, Zaanstad. I mean, real estate is a lot cheaper there, and really depending on the kind of property that we're looking at, we can buy something where you have enough yield, maybe a yield of 6%. So it's really important if you go when it comes to the bidding on a investment property in Haarlem. I mean, you really gotta have no financial condition. If you have a financial condition and you're okay with a yield of 4.7%, okay, but you say, okay, I'm gonna do this bidding with a financial condition for getting a mortgage, forget it. There's enough competition, and they're just professional investors. They have cash, so you really gotta have no financial condition. What else is important when it comes to investment properties? So I said it has to be an apartment, but if you're gonna rent out an apartment, it also got to be allowed by the Corporation of Owners, by the Vereniging van Eigenaren, VVE. So that's something that we as a realtor are going to check for you, but we don't always know it up front. So sometimes we call the realtor, we say, hey, we saw the property is renting out or allowed, and they just simply say, yeah, we don't know that, we're just the office employees, just go and view the property and ask the realtor. So sometimes we're going to check out a property that we don't know for sure if it's allowed to rent it out. After the viewing, we'll get all the documents, the VVE documents, and then of course we're going to check out if that's allowed. Also, during the viewing, we're going to check out the construction. How good is it? Is it a solid construction? Or are you going to have a lot of worries with maintenance over here? Also, we're going to check, I mean, within the Corporation of Owners, is there any, how is the maintenance? I mean, we can buy an apartment building for you, or an apartment for you, but if the VVE is planning on renewing the complete roof or the complete heating system or whatever, and that's really a lot of money out of cash, and they gotta get a mortgage on that, or a loan, or even worse, have all the apartments owners paid out of pocket. That means that you think, hey, we bought a property of, let's say, 275, and suddenly the VVE is demanding you to pay 20,000 euros out of pocket. So we're gonna check out the maintenance and if everything looks good. I like properties that are centrally located, because expats are still a really important targeting group. So Haarlem has a pretty good overview, but any city, I mean, it preferably within 15 minutes bicycle or 10 minutes by bicycle to the central train station. I really like it if an apartment has an outside space, even if it's a small balcony, but I really like outside space. I like Apartments that are built after the war.
Starting a new one.
Yeah. Still broadcasting. So I like apartments that are built from 80s, 90s. The newer the better. And I really hate foundation with wooden poles. They were used until the 60s approximately. I really hate wooden poles. Well, not all the wooden poles, but I really, if it's a pre-war built apartment building with wooden poles and it has potentially could potentially be infected, the wooden poles. I mean, it's gonna cost you so much trouble. Maybe in 10 years, maybe in 30 years, maybe never. But I try not to look for those. So a lot of stuff we gotta gotta take care of. So and last but not least, reason why a lot of people want to invest in Haarlem, and I like to invest in Haarlem myself also, because it is like the new Amsterdam. I mean, you see prices here rising and rising and rising. So you're not only, a lot of people are not only investing for the yield, but they're also investing for the value that's increasing. So they can sell it with a profit, or just having a solid investment. I mean, we don't know what's Almere gonna do, or whatever. And here in Haarlem, I mean, it's getting busier. So that's just a development we'll see for the past decades. That you have like old labor neighborhoods such as the Indische buurt or Transvaalbuurt. They're so damn popular now. Like people from Amsterdam. I mean, most of the buyers are from Amsterdam here. We're coming with lots and lots of cash, and they're really ruining the market here. So investing over there. I also purchased a property this week over there. I mean, it's just increasing the value more and more and more. Even though the yield is not good, but the value is good investment. So a lot of things we take care of. We watch, but a lot of things you also have to think about. Play the video again, make some notes, and happy to help. VK-makelaars, thanks a lot.